Happy May the 4th, everybody. This is a special Australian edition of the Intuit Developer Friday Morning Hangout. It's not morning for, I think, any of you in Sydney, and it's not morning for me here in Tucson, Arizona. Right now it's Thursday night for me. It's dinner time. I think I actually have stuff in the oven. But we definitely do want to do a special edition of this to really get people excited about the Small Business Hack Sydney that's coming up. And so today we have a special guest. It's Telstra. I know nothing about it. I'm very excited to have Stephen Cooper here to explain to me what Telstra is. Before we jump in, just to give everybody a couple minutes to finish signing in and showing up, I just have some housekeeping slides to go through. So if I click my mouse correctly, it should go to the next slide. One of the things I want to remind everybody about, we are the third year in a row we're doing the Small Business App Showdown. So you have to get your app on apps.com and sign up for the Showdown. You have 104 days left. And what we do is we take the finalists and we take them all the way to QuickBooks Connect. And the top 10 finalists pitch in front of a panel of judges. The winner takes home $100,000, which is huge. It's an awesome prize. But just being a finalist is a big deal because we're doing promotions with those apps. So we've really kind of taken the top 10 apps on a 6-month tour to different accounting shows. We took them to Startup Grind. So it's really the being in the contest is huge. Becoming a finalist is huge. And obviously winning is super huge. But you have about 104 days left. You have 104 days left to actually get your app live and register for the contest. But don't wait till day 103 to do this. You probably want to shoot for maybe July 1st to submit your app to be on apps.com, because that's going to give you enough time to go through a technical review, security review, a marketing review, and a legal review, and get live onto apps.com in time for that. Another thing I wanted to let you guys know about is I just talked about it, QuickBurst Connect. This is our big, huge conference we do in San Jose every year. For many of you that are watching probably this right now in Sydney or in the Australian region, you may not know about this, but we do get a lot of people that come from all over the world for it. This gets the entire QuickBooks ecosystem under one roof. We basically have accountants, developers, bookkeepers, small business owners, about 5,000 to 6,000 people, all under one roof. It's a celebration of small business. And so you want to go, we will have developer content there. So mark that on your calendar. But mostly why we're here is we're doing the exact same thing in Sydney on May 24th of this month. So, it's May already. So the team, we're going to be going there. We're going to have content for developers. We're going to have small business owners there, accountants there. It's a really good way for you to connect with the QuickBurst community. So those of you that aren't registered for this, register and hit that site. So it's au.quickburstconnect.com. And the reason we're all here today is to learn more about the Small Business Hack Sydney. So on May 19th and 20th, we're going to do this at the Intuit headquarters in Sydney. All we ask is that you build a small business solution, solve a problem that a small business owner has, and we're giving away 5,000 of Australian dollars. So you want to go to smallbizhacksydney.com and get registered for this, and we're going to talk more about this as we move on here with Stephen. But before we do that, I just want to introduce one more person. So JP, if you want to go off of mute, and I'm going to stop my sharing here, and then make your calendar or your camera a little bit bigger here. There's JP. So I want to definitely introduce everybody who doesn't know who JP is. JP is the developer evangelist in the AU region. So say hi, JP.
Hey everyone. Thanks for being here with us, and the first time at an Australian friendly time. So as David mentioned, I look after our app and our developer ecosystem in Sydney. So feel free to connect with me if you're in the region and want to learn more about any of the events or integrating an app with us.
And what's the best way to get a hold of you, JP? Like on Twitter?
Yeah, I'll put my Twitter account. I can share my email address as well, so I'm fine.
Okay. Yeah, say it. If you want to say your Twitter or your email, that'd be great.
Yeah, so that's JP Intuit OZ. So easy to find me.
Got it. Perfect. And without further ado, Stephen, if you want to unmute.
Hello.
Hey, welcome, Stephen. Thank you for attending. This is our first one ever we've done in the AU region. Two things. I mean, it's the first time we've done the Friday morning hangout with anybody in the Australian region, and this is the first time we're going to do a hackathon there as well.
Ooh,
so,
which is Exciting. I feel like I should be upside down though. I don't know. We are in the other hemisphere. I think the internet goes the other way around or something. I don't know.
But you're in the future for me. This is exciting.
We are. We come from the future and we bring you the gift of the metric system. You're welcome. I always say that in the US, but no one ever accepts it. It's kind of, yeah, anyway. One day, if I say it enough, like it's going to be a thing. Anyway, but thank you for having me. It's really exciting to be here and really exciting to be part of the hackathon.
Yeah, and my understanding is you're going to tell us a little about Telstra Dev. You're going to show us the APIs, all that type of information. You tell us what prize you're giving out at the hackathon. So just for me, because I'm starting at like ground zero, well, you're going to get your stuff set up to share. Like, who is Telstra? Like, I have no idea.
Yeah, I might do screen share because I've got a little bit of a deck. So let's see if this works. I've turned off all my notifications so nothing will be awkward. Can you see that okay?
Yeah, and just before you jump in, just a reminder, anybody that's attending, please use the chat panel for any general discussions and use the Q&A panel for any questions related to today's topic. Thank you.
We're also all on Twitter as well. So I'm on Twitter as @DeveloperSteve, as per the slide there. So I am the developer evangelist for Telstra Dev. And for those that aren't familiar with Telstra, we will be talking about that a little bit in a couple of slides. But we're a company that's basically been ingrained into the Australian mindset for actually almost over 100 years. We've been quite well known throughout Australia and also starting to spread out through the world. So, and we'll talk a bit about that as well, but we now have offices in places like Singapore and Hong Kong, in the US, and also in London as well. And we have very proud sort of heritage roots in the telco space, but we will get more into that. But we are a technology company and I will show you why. But yeah, really excited to be part of the hackathon. Particular hackathons, like you never know what people are going to find, what you're going to find and what people are going to be able to build. And I think that's the exciting part, is the hackathon is the space where devs get the chance to be creative, more creative than normal, because you can literally build anything, and particularly IoT, which is one of my most favoritist topics ever. Favoritist, it's a word, it's a Friday word. But yeah, in particular, just seeing what devs can build with IoT stuff, because you can build that into anything. A hackathon I did a few years ago, a team walked in with a brand new toilet, which was a first, because again, you don't know what you're ever going to find. And this team walked in with a brand new toilet and attached IoT stuff to it. It was
Nice.
an interesting use of the technology. And yeah, the other memorable IoT hack I've seen is in Japan a few years ago at BattleHack. One of the teams there was using Arduino alpha sensors with robotic rabbit's ears, and the more happy you were while you watched a movie, the more the ears would move, and then the more you would pay for the movie afterwards. Very interesting use case. But again, like it's that unknown. Like I can't wait to see when we open our IoT APIs up. I really can't wait to see what people build, because it's going to be, everything's a possibility. But yeah, just recapping back onto this slide. I am Developer Steve, also known as Stephen Cooper. I've 2 days ago, I did my 115th developer talk. Yeah, I've done a lot of talks throughout the regions. I think I've done about 500,000 kilometers since 2014, just going out and engaging with developer communities sort of everywhere, which is really exciting, because you get to work closely with devs and help share knowledge and share your knowledge, which I absolutely love doing. So today I'm here to talk about Telstra as a technology company. So for those that are familiar with us, you'll know us no doubt doing telco things. So we have 3 million odd square kilometers of coverage in Australia, and also do a lot in the networking space and beyond. So our ventures arm has been consistently investing in companies all over the world, technology companies like GitLab and Box. Actually, the GitLab one is relatively new. We announced that a few weeks ago, which is super exciting. One of the other really exciting companies I absolutely love, and like this is major geekness, is a company called UB Tech, which make these amazing robots. I have one not far from where I am sitting, and I was trying to get it into picture, but it wouldn't quite work. But these things are about waist high, have full face and voice recognition. They even charge themselves, so they'll take themselves back to their base station and charge themselves up. LiDAR in the base, like full SDKs, kind of super geeky tools. I'm trying to work out at the moment how I get it around to conferences, whether I have to buy the ticket on the plane or pack it into luggage. I mean, yeah, don't know. Maybe it goes into a Tesla and it drives itself there.
Hey, Stephen.
Might be a bit tricky in the overseas. Yep.
Every couple of minutes, every so often, we're kind of losing your audio a little bit. Can you just flip your camera off and see if that helps a little?
Yes. Stop video. There we go.
Thank you.
Cool. Oops. Now I just go to the next. We also have a thriving open source program. So there's a few projects I'm working with directly with community, and then also we have some of our own open source projects on our GitHub. So github.com/Telstra. Really keen for people to get involved. We have SDKs for all our APIs on there, plus some of our platform service layers are basically open source. So they're available on there. We have regular contributions by community. For instance, OpenKiller, which is the service layer to our programmable network that we're going to talk about in a minute, is open sourced. So the advantage is, like, we use it in our day-to-day basically, and there's the ability for everyone else to be able to use it and to contribute back. So as we change things in it, other people can go and grab it as well, and then also contribute back and be able to sort of make it better, essentially. One of the other projects I have running on there at the moment is a platform basically built on top of Swagger CodeGen that allows you to manage Swagger specs and SDKs that come out of that. And that's a project I'm currently working with fourth year students from Monash University, which is really cool. They wanted a project to be able to work on that I could help mentor them on, and that's, again, something that we can not only give back to community, but we can use it as well. Plus students get experience being able to work on a project. So really keen for people to get involved. All our code and everything we talk about, we'll be talking about today, is all on the GitHub. So even some of the IoT boards that we're about to take a look at, fully open source. They're built on Arduino. The code's sitting, it's actually in the TIC 218 repo that you can see in that picture. But the code and the specs for the boards are all available on there as well. And again, it's something we're looking for feedback on. We're looking for people to get involved as much as we're involved. So would love for people to check that out. So at the moment, available dev.telstra.com, we've got 4 APIs. So we have a messaging API that allows you to send SMS plus as part of that, I did put the animation in, you get free SMS. So you get 1,000 SMS and MMS for free. Wait, I said free twice in the same sentence. That's all right, we'll edit it later. You get free SMS and MMS plus a free number. We're in the process of sort of rolling out the free numbers globally as well to other locations. So stay tuned for that, but you can sign up right now and be able to set that up and get that going. Plus our Wi-Fi locator app. So throughout Australia, we have various Wi-Fi hotspots where you can get free internet, basically free Wi-Fi. So you'll be able to locate those. There's a next iteration of that where we're looking at sort of opening up some statistics, some numbers around that, and some of the traffic that we have through. So in an aggregated format. Stay tuned for the next iteration of that one. Plus our programmable network. Now this one is ridiculously cool. When I first joined Telstra, this was one of the first things that blew my mind. Basically, we built this platform between 6 of the public clouds and 58 data centers globally, including the connections between. So this is kind of leveraging our telco capabilities, but in a technology company format. It's completely API driven, and what it allows you to do is be able to connect up your own private networks amongst multiple clouds all at the same time through APIs. So this is basically, you could connect one platform to the other platform, when high amounts of traffic go through to the two endpoints or through to the servers, you can spin up more connections between, and then as traffic goes down, spin them down. So this is effectively network deployments at scale. Particularly in the small business space, this also allows you to be able to set up sort of satellite locations in a network. So you can deploy branches, you can deploy resources as needed through programmable network, through the APIs, which is really cool. One of the things I talked about a few months ago at a machine learning conference, I used some of the stats between the link controllers. So the amount of traffic passing between endpoints through the network, I hooked it up to Kibana XPack in the machine learning space, and was able to predict when there was going to be spikes in network activity, and then have a process spin up more linkages between. So it's basically predictive networking. That's actually functionality which is currently being put into the programmable network. So it will be able to do it itself using some machine learning. Which is like insanely cool. Essentially, you can predict traffic and be ready for it, which is super, super handy. One of the other recent APIs we've launched is the event detection API. So we've got a few security organizations using this, mainly for testing at the moment, pen testing, but essentially it allows you to register a mobile number to be able to track various network events against that mobile, which is cool for, again, the testing space. You can have an app locked to a certain number or to a certain part of the network. And then if anything happens, or it switches SIMs, it switches networks, it switches activity or unusual activity, you can react in a security manner to be able to handle that. One of the most exciting APIs we launched this week, well, they're all exciting really, but this one in particular really got my inner geek going, is our Connected Things API. So this is the Cat1, Cat-M1, and SIM-based network activity for IoT devices. So this is a major, major geek love of mine. I've done many talks before where I've connected payment things up to Internet of Things devices, but it was always through Wi-Fi, which for those that sort of know the struggles of the IoT space, like trying to connect Wi-Fi, particularly in international locations, is quite, well, it's a pain. Particularly dealing with the likes of the Arduino Yuan. If anyone else has been familiar with the Yuan, I'd love to hear from you. The bridge bit in the middle of it, it still drives me nuts. But this is really cool because this basically connects the IoT devices straight into our network. So all the coverage, basically leveraging the 4G, 5G network we already have in Australia, and soon some of the international locations. But essentially, this connects your things directly to our network, and then you can call them through APIs. So you can post, get data, and be able to provision devices on and off. Also be able to wake devices up. And again, this is connecting everything. So you can connect light switches, toilets, rabbit's ears, like whatever you want, it can be able to connect. This is the thing that does it. One of the spaces we've been using so one of our acquisition covers shipping. So we've.
Hey Steve,
sorry?
You might have to.
Yeah.
As soon as you brought up this slide, anything you said just kind of got watery. If you could just start the slide over, that'd be great.
I'll pause when I go through. All right, is it up?
You're perfect. Yeah, we can see it and I can hear you now. Perfect.
Oh no, my audio froze. Okay, cool. Yeah, so MT Data, who have been working closely with the likes of LinFox, we announced this one a few months ago. So for those that don't know, LinFox does a lot of shipping, in particular truck logistics shipping. So they move a lot of stuff around a lot of Australia. But essentially, all our IoT network is now hooked up to a lot of the trucks and the shipping logistics. Everything from road conditions to the handling of unpacking, packing of some of the internal logistics to shipping. Essentially, that's one of the things our network's being used for. A lot in the agri-tech space, being able to get a lot of sensor data. This really does connect everything to everything else. I'm going to stop actually, I'll go to the next slide. and then I'll switch over to video because I have some cards here that I can talk a bit about. So this is one of the IoT boards we've got coming to the dev portal. This is the one I was making noise about a few days ago, which I was able to finally get my hands on. I'm already planning some t-shirts, which I always love doing. It's probably one of the few times I get to, and I've built IoT shirts before, but it's one of the few times I get to sew, hack, and solder a t-shirt, which is so cool. But again, you can build this stuff into anything, even shirts. So this is our new one of our new IoT boards coming up for our TIC hackathon. People will be able to use that in a couple of weeks. I'll be bringing these to the Intuit hackathon too. I have a bunch of them in my bag. Plus, as part of the prize, I'll show you that in a minute. We'll just geek out about this one first.
So you're bringing these so people can implement, and they're
basically play, see, hack. Just so they can get hands-on with it. So these ones in particular have a built-in processor. They have 3 different types of network capabilities. So this is our dev board, which is essentially, whatever you need it to be to build the prototype. So this has SIM-based connectivity, so it just connects to the normal network. It basically transmit data through 4G. And then also has Cat1 and Cat-M1, which is the new IoT networks. Cat-M1 is the highest spec. Currently, the firmware doesn't support it at the moment, but again, it's open source, so the next update to the firmware will basically open that up. Also on board, and I haven't seen this very often in many IoT boards, is it has encryption, chipset encryption on the board. So that allows you to do basically point-to-point encryption from the board to the server, which is ridiculously cool. Like I haven't had a chance to play with it yet. I only got this one a few days ago. But essentially you can encrypt, SSL encrypt on the board itself and then be able to transmit, which is super cool. In theory, you could make this board PCI compliant, but having done that a few times in my past, good luck. In theory, you could do it, and it's really cool that it has the capabilities. It also has a whole bunch of other sensors, as you can see from the diagram, like temperature and light sensor, accelerometer, GPS, and a microbus. So you can actually build off this board to put any other subboards that you wanted onto it. Again, you could use this for just about anything. One of the things I'm keen to explore, other than a t-shirt, is using it to unlock doors. So I can have this built into a door, like a co-working space, for example, and manage membership through a platform. And then as the users require access to the venue, providing they've paid for time to get in, then you can have a button which will activate the door and be able to open it up. Again, that encryption piece, like totally critical to that type of activity because it keeps things nice, safe, and secure. I'm going to switch to camera mode now. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Can you see me okay? Yep, cool. And that's the board, essentially. Wait, let me get close to the camera. That's the board itself. It's relatively small as far as IT goes, but it's got a lot of stuff on it. So you've got the SIM back here, antennas, just like in the photo. It's very similar to a lot of the Arduino boards. It is Arduino, and it's got all the breakout pins on top, so you can hook up shields or anything else you needed to connect up. But again, 3 different types. And the only thing it doesn't have is Wi-Fi, which makes sense because it's got 3 different mobile network connections built in. But yeah, it's got all the breakout pins you would want and all the power things you're going to need to do. But yeah, again, what can't you do with this thing? It'll hook up to toilets and rabbits and t-shirts, so possibilities are endless. Part of the prize that we'll be giving away, is my internet okay? Yep, okay, it's back. Part of the prize we'll be giving away for the best integration of our APIs, and all our APIs are basically available to use, is a Raspberry Pi kit or pack with a Raspberry Pi shield. So this is just a shield with Cat1 and SIM-based connectivity. And so this will basically plug into a Raspberry Pi or anything Arduino, and you can connect it straight to network and basically do the same type of things. It actually occurred to me, so I only just got one of these. I haven't played with it yet, and that's pretty much going to be my weekend. But it occurred to me you could have like a meta stack and be able to connect the shield to the Cat1 and be able to have internet connection on your internet connection. I mean, how cool is that? Anyway, just a geeky thought. That's the tiny little add-on breakout bus. So that just fits onto there, like so. And ta-da! So that's got Bluetooth and a little LCD screen on it. So you can have an output with some sensor information or some light information. Like you have some basic stuff on there to be able to show that it's doing the thing that you hope it would, which is the biggest problem in the IoT world, because you never know what these boards are doing when you give them power. It kind of sits there and light blinks and you're like, great, what's going on? But yeah, that'll help you get at least some debug information going so you can get some stuff off it.
And those, Steve, those extensions, those are things that Telstra provides, or you can kind of find any IoT extension like the same that works with Arduino, kind of plugs into that same system?
Yeah, good question. And yes, both. we've got our own stuff, but it's all built on standard Arduino protocols. So any existing like IoT stuff will plug straight in. Yeah, which is really cool because we don't want to, restrict what people can do just to our stuff. Like it's just anything available. Yeah, so and I really do like the fact that it's literally like IoT in particular. It's literally whatever your imagination can provide. It's like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if that was connected? I saw this week that a new couch lounges come out with built-in USB ports, which again, it's like, oh wow, I actually need that. I don't know how many times you've been sitting there watching TV thinking, geez, I wish I could charge my phone. Yeah, I can only imagine, start putting sensors into that stuff. Yeah, just blows my mind.
Yeah, especially in areas where the Wi-Fi coverage is not that good, but there's data connection. You can build things like the GPS tracker you mentioned. That's a really good example for businesses of what they can do.
We have a new smaller version in production at the moment. I don't have any specs or pictures of it yet, but there is a smaller version coming where it connects straight to a network. So, and that's more for the logistics tracking side of things. But yeah, and the good thing is like a lot of this stuff's getting relatively cheap too. So it's quite easy to build some really innovative stuff for small business and have them to be able to connect various things or various experiences, even for experiential activation. So put a big red button in a display and say, push this button and you may win, or like that whole interactive IoT stuff. IoT for me has always been that moving of the digital world into the real world. It's that conduit, it's that gateway. In saying that, I think UX for IoT is something still largely unexplored because a big red button, you don't know what it's going to do until you get that right prompting. So that's a whole other topic anyway. I'm going to switch back to the Prezzo.
In these devices right now, Steve, so obviously you're going to bring them to the hackathon. So if somebody wants to play with one, they got to come to the hackathon. But let's say somebody's discovering this video, on YouTube 6 months from now, and they want, are these something you can buy somewhere or acquire somehow?
Yep, they'll be available through dev.telstra.com. We've got a emerging beta program for people to be able to access the APIs through. I haven't released it yet. It's close. I'll have the APIs available at the Intuit hack as well, and I'll have all the devices there. I'm also planning to bring a HoloLens with me as well because they are so cool. I love the HoloLens.
Okay. And we did get a question that came in. I'm sure you're probably going to show how easy it is, but somebody wanted to understand, like, how long is it to implement the APIs on a device like this in a hack setting, right? And maybe you're going to demo how fast it is soon, but I don't want to spoil.
Yeah, I need a weekend to play with it. But relatively easy. And that's one thing like I've particularly kept in mind when we've been looking at the APIs is like, I want it like really easy to use. Like literally there was a slide that I had where there was like 5 APIs, and that is essentially the basis for how easy it's going to be. It's It's going to be the API call to provision the device, connect it to your API keys, and then you're either going to post or get data from it. Like I want to keep it as easy as possible and as agnostic as possible. Because I'm mindful that there's going to be so many different use cases for how these things are integrated into things. Keeping it agnostic was like super important. We don't know whether we're talking to a fridge, a lounge, a toilet, like whatever it's going to be. The important thing is the data transport has to be there for it to be able to handle. Definitely keeping it as easy as possible. And again, it's Arduino, so it's built on top of standard sort of community supported libraries. We've kept it as agnostic to the open source stuff as we possibly can. Well, it's completely open source.
Awesome.
I'm going to switch back to the deck. Oh, yeah, I've got to put screen share on. Okay, cool. And we're back. I'm going to switch my video. As we said, that was all available. I think there's a hidden message there. Everything's available through dev.telstra.com. So be sure to register because and there's a few different API products we have coming over the next couple of months. Things are getting really busy. As those become available, like we're going to be emailing everyone to let them know about it and then give them a chance to be able to get involved. We've also got roadshows. I've only just set up the Eventbrite page, so we've got roadshows coming as well. So stay tuned for that. We're also, I should mention, also keep an eye on our Twitter account, Telstra Dev on Twitter, and I'm at Developer Steve on Twitter as well. So keep an eye on both those accounts because I am getting ready to announce that probably later today. Where you'll be able to get on to get hands-on with some of this new stuff as well, and also be able to find out about some of the new stuff we have coming. Plus, there'll be giant robots there. I mean, how can you not go wrong with giant robots? Actually, I just realized that was the last slide of my deck, so I'm going to switch back to camera mode. Cool. That was kind of the deck I threw together. So I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone has at this point, if there are any. Where do I see? Oh, chat.
I think there's a simple one that came through. What's your prize? So at the hackathon, you're going to give away a prize.
We're giving away. So that's the shield for the Sim and Cat 1 shield for Raspberry Pi, anything Arduino. We're giving away that, plus also I've got some Telstra rechargeable batteries and Raspberry Pi kit, which I didn't bring with me because I have a really heavy bag today carrying around shirts. Speaking of, I will be bringing t-shirts and a whole bunch of stickers as well. We have some really cool stickers. I have those. And awesome. To celebrate May the 4th, happy May the 4th, everyone. It's Star Wars Day. We've got with like Star Wars-ish type quotes on them. So the API is strong with that one, for example. So we'll have a whole bunch of those there. I'm also bringing along some spot prizes to give away as well, just because I know everyone loves swag, stickers, and stuff.
Got it. So obviously you interact with small businesses, but you having this knowledge of IoT, right? When you're out with small businesses, like how often do you see problems and you're just like, oh, if they just implement some IoT, that would be solved, right? Like, do you have any ideas or things you would be excited to see at the hackathon built for small business owners?
I think it's always cool to see. I hate seeing technology being implemented for technology's sake. Like, as much as I love it and it makes everyone's lives easier, I think the stuff that sort of changes people's lives and sort of streamlines things, like that's the cool stuff. And in small business, that's definitely something I like to see. Even something simple. I know some small businesses that are using some of the temperature sensors and this stuff to be able to detect changes in fridge environment, for example. So particularly in the pharmaceutical space, like there's certain medications that have to be kept at a certain temperature. So you can have an IoT device sitting there measuring temperature, and as soon as it drops below a certain limit, like you can send an alert out to let someone know to go, maybe the refrigerated area needs maintenance, maybe some seals are broken. Like, you can use it as that early stage detection. Again, it's something that I like to see being used to solve that problem, to streamline people's lives. Technology is something that I think, like, that's one of the best use cases I love seeing. What else have we seen? So one of our big case studies is also milk delivery, similar type concept. Like, it's able to monitor the temperature of milk being shipped, so it's going to turn up fresh the next day, 3 countries over. Like, you can really be able to use it to streamline delivery, to essentially make people's lives easier. Like, before that would happen, like, the whole deliveries of produce would turn up and it's gone rotten because it's been sitting in a part of a logistics container, like where it's been a bit hotter, so things have obviously started to go off. Like, yeah.
And question. So there may be quite a few developers that are not familiar with IoT and just getting their hands onto that. Are there any resources or places you would recommend them to maybe read upon before the hackathon or before getting into that?
Dev.telstra.com. No, I think any of the Arduino communities, and again, like, because this stuff is all open sourced, it's something you can, there's quite a solid community built around it. So I think that's a good place to start. If you've got access to IoT boards, that definitely would be a good help. I would highly recommend downloading the Arduino IDE as well. So you basically use that to be able to connect to all this sort of stuff. But yeah, otherwise, like, I'll have stuff there and be able to talk people through it. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be doing it as a stage demo as well. Maybe I'll have my t-shirt built by then.
Cool. Hey, JP, I have a question for you. What excites you about, like, bringing IoT to small businesses?
I think it's something that we haven't bridged the gap. We tend to be doing a lot of things online that's just stuck in the UI, and I think bridging the gap with the physical, which is where the small business live, really. So they're not spending their time in front of a laptop. They're just doing whatever they're doing on the field or on the go, and anything that you can automate through IoT, I think it'd be an amazing thing to see.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think what I like about it is in theory, the cost is almost nothing. It's so cheap, the technology. So it's like, if people just start building solutions, like, there's no barrier for of entry for the small business owner to implement some of these things. They just need the solutions to exist, and they don't yet.
Actually, one of my other favorite boards, I don't know if everyone's familiar with the ESP. I have one in my bag, but I'm not going to go digging through it now. They're really, really tiny. They're about this big. The ESP boards, they're a pain to program, but they're like $4. And they have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. The ESP32 has Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, is ridiculously low powered, and has the processor on these things just keeps getting faster and faster. And they're tiny. They're like that big. You can build them into light switches. They're so cool.
What's I don't know if in your experience, Stephen, what's the life expectancy, the battery lifetime of those things, like whether you can take them on the go, whether you need to have them plugged all the time?
Yeah, great question. And that's been, it basically depends what you're using and
you just
basically, I've done am I back?
You're back.
No, my connection's okay, cool. I'm sitting in a really bad spot in the office. And the battery life is going to depend on what you're doing with it. So SIM in particular does tend to chew a lot more battery because it's literally doing what a phone would do. It connects to the network in the same fashion. It's still transmitting data, but it's the way it connects. So I've run a campaign before using tracking cats with I love doing agency work because you never know what you're going to get thrown at. So yeah, I was for a major Australian pet food company who wanted to do a campaign around tracking cats. So I had a 2G SIM basically attached to this little tiny collar It had about a 9-hour battery, polling every 10 minutes to a server. So every 10 minutes it would try and connect. Sometimes it didn't have connectivity. It would just keep trying, which would kill the battery even more. The exciting part is the Cat 1 stuff, which is, well, kind of ironic given that we're just talking about cats. But yeah, the Cat 1 network, which is really super low powered, which means you don't need to do that whole SIM connectivity anymore because it's such a lighter network with more bandwidth available. So yeah, I would love to have had that available when I had that project. But yeah, again, it just depends what you're using and how often you're using it for. Something like that is very power hungry, but this is a dev board. So this is where what you use to prototype your concepts, and then from there, work out the components you only need on your production version, and then build that into a specific board or specific experience. Yeah.
Cool. Just to remind everybody, if you have any questions, please stick them in the Q&A panel. There's none in there right now. I don't know, JP, if you have anything more?
No, I'm kind of blown away by kind of all the things that Telstra is doing right now, like the extent of the stuff, like working on IoT and not only just the messaging. So maybe talk us about, Stephen, if you're a new developer, you're coming to a hackathon, for example, and you have this whole array of API, what could you mash up together between, I don't know, QuickBooks, either your SMS API or your IoT?
I actually have something that I kind of secretly want someone to build. Well, I mean, I have a whole bunch of stuff because I've always got ideas. I'm my own worst enemy as a dev because I got all these ideas and not enough time. But one thing in particular I would love to see is other than some IoT innovative stuff, like do something left field, really surprise me, is with our programmable network. I'd love to see somebody hook that up to your API. One of the things it allows you to do is essentially resell services to clients. So the only thing we don't have available in there is any way to bill them. And you can probably see where I'm going with this because you can set up an account on Programmable Network and then be able to on-sell services to people and automatically, or to small businesses, and then automatically bill them for usage. So as they spin stuff up, they spin stuff down, you'll be able to automatically bill them out every 2 weeks or whatever billing period you want. Aside from that, I always love seeing cool stuff being built with our messaging API. And overall, over all that, I'd love to see something that uses all those things. If you can build all, not funny. No, I'd love to cross-platform people could come up with. Maybe it's some type of network deployment IoT hack with messaging alerts. I don't know. I literally just came up with that off the top of my head. That would be cool, though. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, and you mentioned about service when you were talking about the programmable network. What do you define as a service? Is it the bandwidth, the data that you're using through that created network?
Yeah, everything. So these APIs will actually let you set up telco-grade connections between endpoints, between servers, between site deployments. Like, it's really good. Some of our using it for retail deployments. So they open a new store in a location. The private network between, you can use it to deploy resources, video chat, that type of thing. Like, you can basically set up the infrastructure you need to scale en masse, all at APIs. So
is it more cost effective? Is that one of the benefits, being more effective of scaling your kind of network this way than just using what's out there for the normal provider? It's more also the cross-compatibility of the resources. So traditionally, the other way, other than using analog switches at data exchanges, is to set up separate instances, say on Microsoft or AWS or Google, and then be able to connect them through private connections. Like, this takes all that out. You can literally deploy connections between
as you need to. Even if you create new resources inside a network setup, like you can reconnect that, have automatic cutover, for instance, switching server infrastructure as you're upgrading your network. You can cut straight over just from literally a push of a button. You could have a button hooked up and just hit it, and it would just go. It'd be amazing.
Full circle back to a button. I think or maybe even before we started, you were talking about like this a button, like to do
button.
Things. Like full circle back to the button again.
Buy like a big red button just for like deployments. We'll deploy our new dev portals that way.
We did get another question come in. Apparently Hacker Annie, she is so confident her app is going to be really successful. She wants to know, like, what's the cost going to be once she exceeds her 1,000 free SMS messages?
Totally happy to work with on that, because we also have our startup program, Blueprint, which I can extend that free tier for. But yeah, it's just going to depend how many you're sending. There's a pay-as-you-go plan, which is available on our website, and then there's also enterprise grade plans sort of beyond that. But totally keen to chat if you're at the hackathon, which I hope and think you are. I'd love to chat to see to find out more about your app, because I'm also always looking for blog post case studies that we can write about, and also just how we can help support you, basically help get things underway and help you grow.
Awesome, perfect. I don't think there's anything left. I mean, is there any closing thoughts like you want to make sure we take away? If somebody's watching this the night before the hack and they need that last little be either piece of inspiration, or don't forget to do this on the developer site before you show up in the morning, anything you should want to throw in there?
Yeah, everyone should register on dev.telstra.com. Oh wait, hang on, May the 4th. Everyone should register on the dev.telstra.com. So you're all going to register now, just because, Jedi powers and stuff. No, I don't have Jedi powers, just in case you're wondering. Don't forget your chargers. I've seen that happen before, although, I mean, anyone's welcome to use my Mac charger. But yeah, make sure you've got all your equipment together, and ideally come with something, an idea in mind that you want to start building on the day. And yeah, other than that, I'd really look forward to seeing everyone there. The only thing I haven't done yet is I've got a whole big long list of dev jokes that I haven't told any yet, because I know there are a few people watching that absolutely love my dev jokes. Mindy, looking at you. So I totally have to tell a dev joke. How many developers does it take to screw in a light bulb?
I don't know. How many developers does it take?
None. It's a hardware problem. I'm totally on topic. There is a follow-up one to that, is how many testers does it take to screw in a light bulb? And the answer is none. They just prove darkness exists. It's someone else's job to fix it.
Awesome. Perfect.
I'll be bringing a heap more with me to the hackathon, so I'll keep you all lively. Don't you worry.
Awesome. On that note, then, thank you so much. We'll call it a night. And this will be up on YouTube. Hopefully be people to catch it there. Thanks, JP. Appreciate it. And we'll see you guys, I think. I fly up
in 2 weeks.
10 days soon. Yeah, I think I fly up on the 15th, 16th. I'm very confused with the dates. It's going to be a mess. I might miss the whole hackathon trying to get there. But yeah, I'll see you guys in about 10 days, 11 days.
Cool. Look forward to it.
Awesome. Bye, guys. Bye, everybody.